the universe, eternally fixed or forever exploding, the enigma of space. Rather an enigmatic statement, really? Could they be universes running in reverse? Which is the question they pose at the beginning. And apart from, you know, I won't read all what's on here, but the last sentence. Still, other scientists dispute the very existence of black holes. Only one thing is certain. Black holes are one of the most intriguing concepts to come to man's attention this century, and they are going to occupy the thoughts of astronomers for years to come. Okay, so this little beauty is a design of a man named Hero, and he was from the 1st century after Christ. It's a steam engine, of course, but looking at it made me think of something else. Can you see? There's the sun right there. The sun's reflection on a great big ball. There's the earth, of course. Yeah. Just fires my imagination, if not yours. Hero from Alexandria. Quite a few people have mentioned gravity. I can't find a mention of gravity in here. The only mention of Einstein is this one here, and it's just Einstein describing Kepler as an incomparable man. This is a book about strange and bizarre facts that are true. And yet, gravity is not in here. I can't find a mention of Isaac Newton. There is a section of the book where it's dispelling myths. I thought I saw one about Isaac Newton and his apple, but I can't find it again. I cannot find a mention of the name. I've looked through the index. There's no gravity. There's no Isaac Newton at all, which is bizarre. It's a reasonably extensive piece about Galileo, and it just ends with within 50 years the central Earth theory had completely crumbled. 50 years of his death. It's a bizarre tale. Feel free to come and look into the Galileo tale. Einstein, Isaac Newton. But yeah, gravity, looking for it today. And on this page we have Einstein. Very bizarre. Okay, so as ambiguous as the title may be, this is not completely about space. Looking through the book, drawing many connections myself from many different areas, and trying to help you to exercise your mind and make connections where you might not necessarily see some. Okay, now a short clip coming up straight after this is about this, and then there's a following clip. When you see the second clip, I want you to remember this one and think to yourself, where did these go? Okay, so you may be familiar with like images of this type, but this is the first like this, and this was taken by Dr. Harold Edgerton. Okay. And with these types of high-speed pictures, Edgerton helped bring about high-speed photography techniques. And if you follow that trail, you will of course come eventually to things like CGI and computer graphicing. Dr. Harold Edgerton. So I know there's a few people talk about it, but this is that Arizona desert crater. Now, if something came down, crashed, where's all the stuff? Well, what about if it was a big plasma strike? You know, plasma lightning. It would dissolve everything there, wouldn't it? Plasma strike. Not a meteor strike. So try and make it a little bit more clearer. So the second shot you'll see the Arizona crater. Now what I'm asking is, as the meteor strikes the ground, shouldn't something similar to this happen and then disperse along the ground? This is milk. It will go back into the milk and go level. Of course, we all know that now, right? But when you see the crater, ask yourself, what happened to these big old lumps of, even if it was molten rock, where did they all go? Yeah, there is a rim around the crater. You can see that here. Just see the shadow around there. Alright, so just to try, to try and help you open up your mind. Some of it's quite funny, some of it's not quite as pleasant. Some of it will definitely leave you scratching your head. Okay, I do hope you enjoy it. It's not just listening; you will have to watch as well. Okay. Much love, thank you for watching. So, bread and circuses. I'm just here saying, Martin, put that bit back. We know you got it. Okay, so if I show you this simple image here, you'll get an idea of what the next subject matter is about. And in the early days of learning how to land planes, a lot of pilots were crashing, and so they had to come up fast with an idea of like autopilot, shall we say, to cut a long story short. And so the fellow you want to look into is William O'Brien. William O'Brien, if you can see that. And the Decca Navigator. It does say it just there, Decca. D-E-C-C-A. Decca Navigator. So William O'Brien, the Decca Navigator. The original autopilot. So I know this is another topic that interests a lot of people, seeding the rain clouds. It starts off by telling us that in the 18th and 19th century it was noted that frequently it rained much more after battles in which there had been heavy cannon fire, and this has eventually led on to all the other cloud seeding types. And I'll just point you to the last bit. Other nations such as Australia and Israel are also trying to make rain. Israel has claimed that it has substantially increased its annual rainfall. So there are quite a few names to drop on this page. Vincent J. Schaefer, if you can see that, S-C-H-A-E-F-E-R. There's another fellow here, Bernard Vonnegut, as it is spelled. Bernard Vonnegut, V-O-N-N-E-G-U-T. Okay. There's also another fellow over here called Daniel Ruggles. Okay. And yeah, you can look into all of them, and of course just seeding rain clouds. We'll look into that itself. I may well return to this section at some point and expand on it as much as I can, because of course the impossible dream, man's quest for free power, is something we're still arguing about, isn't it? And oh my God, there are so many names on this page. I'm not sure where to even start. Yeah, Villard de Honnecourt, Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, there's a couple of chaps over here. Edward Somerset, the Marquess of Worcester. Yeah. Abbé de la Roque. I mean, that was in 1686. This has been spoken about for as long as, and this whole section, man's amazing inventions, is quite cool actually. But yeah, we'll return to this. So just a little bit of toilet talk quickly, bit of shit talking. So Victorian toilets, ancient Roman toilets, the latrines. Has anybody seen or heard the meme floating around that everything that we know is wrong? Well, apparently we're even shit wrong. You're sitting on a toilet, all wrong apparently. You're supposed to squat rather than sit. Funny how the toilet looks like a H. Sitting shit. Yeah, maybe you should squat and shit. Okay, now you can of course pause this part and read this one. This is the way the weekday cycles have been changed, and you can see that the 7-day week here is the Babylonians. It is an interesting topic, and yeah, the planets are all involved. The Egyptians are there, the Romans are there. Yeah, there's so much involved with the days of the week. It's rather a cool subject to look into. But yeah, days of the week. So something that's slightly more familiar in America than England, except for when you're associating it with Arnold Schwarzenegger. The word kindergarten. A guy called Frederick Froebel. It was originally to establish a small child occupation institute, and I ain't gonna attempt that. Kleinkind-best, yeah, big long German word. But yeah, it was later changed to kindergarten. Now, I just thought this bit was interesting because of this last piece here. He thought kindergarten was a happier sounding name for his schools, where children of 4 and 5 could enjoy themselves playing in the sun or listening to poetry and stories. But after a while the authorities closed his school because of the dangerous freedom of Froebel's ideas. Yeah, hey? Dangerous freedom of children having fun. Okay, so this is an odd piece in some ways, and perhaps not relevant anymore, and yet it should be. And it's from Small Beginnings. Does anyone know what this is? You should be able to tell the first word that comes to your head is the company that you are thinking of is. This is how they began. A humble shop in Houndsditch in London by Marcus Samuel. And yeah, he used to sell small boxes with shells on it. He also used to transport oil, and it was the oil business which, of course, he's now famous for. But they tried to keep the shell on the symbol, apparently, to remember its humble beginnings. True or not, look into it yourself. Some people will tell you it's all sun rays and heliocentric worship and yeah, whatever. But Marcus said. John Cleves Sims, Hollow Earth Theory. Yeah, you can just Google that. Or you can listen to the little story I found in the Reader's Digest from 1975. Thank you to the Reader's Digest and whoever's got the copyright. I couldn't find who actually wrote the piece. But thank you anyway. This is not for profit, just for a bit of education and comedy, critical review. The word origins. The word tip. To ensure promptness. Oh, there we go. So customers at 18th century coffee houses were invited to drop coins into staff collecting boxes bearing the words "to ensure promptness." So yeah, tip. Okay, there's another one down here, wedding. Cynics who suggest that marriage is a lottery can point to the fact that to wed meant to wager. In Old English, wedian meant to pledge money in a bet, or pledge yourself in marriage. There's another one up here which you can decide whether it's relevant, just a bit of fun. Blue-blooded. The expression is derived from the Spanish sang azul, used by aristocratic families of Castile to describe themselves as being uncontaminated by Moorish or Jewish blood. Yeah. It probably originated because the veins of people with fair complexions would appear blue. I'm not going to read all of it out, but the origins of hip hip hooray. Yeah, the Crusaders used to say something along the lines while they was killing people. So yeah, next time it's someone's birthday and you're all wishing them a happy birthday and you sing hip hip hooray. Yeah, let's hope that someone don't get killed after the cake's cut. Hey. The Protocols of Zion. The most damaging fraud in history. And of course we have a pear-shaped earth. I shall return to this one. So this is Johannes Kepler's miniature models of working out the spacings between the planets. I find this fascinating, this image, absolutely fascinating. The cube and the pyramid, yeah, concentric spheres. Yeah, fascinating image. I'll give us more close up, going slowly down the page. So this is an image of Master Astronomer Tycho with his mural quadrant, which is in effect a huge brass protractor. So that's this thing here. And it says, while behind him his student Kepler observes the stars, and assistants keep time and record findings. Everything out, but there is plenty on here to see. Plenty on here to see. And if you'll just notice, first and foremost on the table by this most prominent gentleman is his square and compass, of course. And just being an artist, I just think this image is another astonishing one. I just think it's amazing that people can draw like this. I mean, this area here is in so many ways so simple, and yet it's so detailed, isn't it, really? And yeah, if you was to look up at the close-up of the brickwork, it must have taken an immense amount of time. It's beautiful. Earth is right there, right? That's Earth. We live on that one there. There's all these other Earths all around there, maybe. How about that? More shrooms. Now I've got to get a quick picture of the shrooms, and all. New Forest, England. Bracket fungus. Okay, so I know many people are interested in this subject. Do plants have emotions? And I'll just direct you to these guys. 1973. Peter Tompkins and Christopher Bird, and they're enlarging on a guy called Baxter. Name Baxter. Okay, so look for these three names. It's actually there's a coinkyding for you. Cleve Baxter. Okay, Peter Tompkins, Christopher Bird. And just to throw this in, I heard people mention it a while ago, Methuselah. 4,600-year-old bushel cone pine. He's a lovely old fellow, isn't he? Perhaps relevant to a recent subject, the problem of size. Imagine a man whose mass is 1 cubic unit. Double his height and his mass increases 8-fold, while his surface area increases only 4 times. His rate of heat loss through the skin will have been halved. Such an increase in size would cause overheating problems. Imagine if this cube was like a mushy Play-Doh and it could change the frequency so that the surface wasn't all flat and square. I don't know. So almost completely unrelated to everything else, but just for myself really, and for those interested, maybe for Rory McFizz, Mr. Paxton's Wondrous Palace and how they built it is quite extensively, I suppose, for the rest of the book described here. There's also as long as I don't lose my page, familiar image for some of you. And of course a lot of these were wrong. You can look them up. Yeah, but I better not drop my bloody iPod now. You see all the details on the body. Eyes and the teeth, the claws. Someone spent a lot of time and effort on these. Not changed too much, at least no bars in the way this time, no, hey. But yeah. Maybe I'll stick a little slip in here of Mr. Paxton's bust. That's it. Sir Joseph Paxton. Oh, and of course that's where the fun fair was. Welcome to Crystal Palace Park. There's actually a fun fair going on tonight, but that's not where we're going. I'm going to try and find the dinosaurs at night. Another subject we've all been talking about, page 119. Dr. Sidney Britton, zoologist, he says that we may have learned when we was monkeys to learn to walk upright because of keeping our bellies out of the snow. Something along them lines. Yeah, Dr. Sidney Britton. Yeah, and as we stood up, our brains got more blood and grew bigger, apparently. Anyway, Dr. Sidney Britton. Here's a slightly creepy one, and this is about setting up body farms, cadaver farms. Using bodies that are technically dead with no brain waves being registered over a prolonged period, and as long as the other organs are intact they keep the people alive and harvest them for blood and transfusions and or to make vaccines. Yeah. Had some strange old dreams, thoughts, ideas, imaginings about this sort of stuff, as I'm sure we have all. Just before I'll read some of this, I did notice throughout this little section, Marvels of Science, there's a lot about what goes on inside the station, space station, spaceship and stuff, but it doesn't really mention how it moves. So a major problem in space travel is provided power to use inside the spaceship. It is needed for instruments, heating and cooling systems, computers, radios, TV, cameras and other equipment. It says that this hydrogen-oxygen fuel cell, it says that it provides drinking water as a byproduct. So yeah, maybe some people will be interested in looking into this. It says down here it is a cycle that can, in theory, go on indefinitely. Well, we all know what that means. And so fuel cells developed by Francis Thomas Bacon, an English engineer. Yeah, we've all heard of him. Yeah, there is loads. I could spend a while just on this one. So just lastly, although hydrogen and oxygen are cheap, the catalyst materials are expensive, and that is platinum, which back then in 1975 was £80 for just over an ounce. And yeah, well, some of you may not know what platinum is being used for. Some of you may not. I suggest you go and look it up. Peace and luck to everybody. Thank you anyway. This is not for profit, just for a bit of education. You can, of course, if you want, pause it and read through it yourself if it comes out clear enough. Otherwise, just sit back and listen for 5.5 minutes as I read you some familiar tales. From, well, before I was born. There's the picture, and if you want to sit back and just listen, you can. I'm not sure if too many people have heard of this. It's something called waveguide. I assume it's some sort of precursor to like the internet and fibre optics and things like this. And it's to do with a copper tube, filling it with a particular gas. And apparently it was very good at sending messages. Waveguide. Now I did just quickly Google it to see if I could come up with anything. I haven't searched too far. I'm not going to. It's not the purpose of this just at the moment. I will do it if other people are interested and don't have the time, and I do. But yeah, there's loads on here about waveguides, but not this waveguide just yet. It may be under that Wikipedia link there, but yeah, there is plenty on here. It may interest people in just those sorts of areas: quasar, microwave technology, and yeah, antenna theories, and there's other stuff. People nab hold of certain words, don't they, and like to keep hold of them. So yeah, something back in the early days of just after telephones sort of implemented throughout the world-ish. It was coming up with trying to find faster ways to send messages, and yeah, something called waveguide. Okay, now you can of course pause this part and read this one. This is the way the weekday cycles have been changed, and you can see that the 7-day week here is the Babylonians. It is an interesting topic, and yeah, the planets are all involved. The Egyptians are there, the Romans are there. Yeah, there's so much involved with the days of the week. It's rather a cool subject to look into. But yeah, days of the week. Okay, so I'm going to kind of whip through the last section of the book, and it is the world of tomorrow as predicted from back in 1975. And of course, to start down with, can we slow down the ageing process? You know what these are these days. And of course, we have the bionic man. And of course, back then, prosthetics were not quite as common as they are now. Yeah, lots of stuff in here that I could stick on for ages, but I won't do. So now, of course, solar powers, water filter systems all on your houses, and a futuristic house. Doesn't seem to have materialised just yet, does it? Salvation from the sea, which still doesn't seem to be happening. All of us eating seaweed and stuff like this. We have underwater oil rigs, excuse me. And then underwater fish farms. Maybe we do have these, and they're just not telling us. Hey? Irrigation from icebergs. Lisa Maureen's watching. Jack Geller tries at one point to buy and sell ice from the North Pole. Okay, there's a piece here about it being possible to plant crops in the desert, which we see small images of, but they don't seem to be taking full advantage of that unless they're not telling us about it, are they? And then of course we have trains without wheels and things like that. The monorail floor, moving pavements. What's this one, the PAT system? I forget. Pilots may be able to soon fly by thinking. Is that around? And of course the book finishes with the enigmas of the UFO. There's a few little things in here, I'm sure many people. You can find so much more better stuff on the internet if I do eventually find anything unusual on here. If I find a few names and such like, I'll pass them on. And of course we've got the obligatory this is where we will be going in the future. This is what I dreamed of as a child, and even just a simple moon base, it's not there, is it? It's just not there. Still a very cool image, I do like it. And of course one that terrified the lives out of every school child out there that's got an imagination. It certainly scared the life out of me for a long, long time. And my youngest child came home talking about being worried about this end of time scenario. What an image to finish on, eh? Should we go back to it? Facing that whole end of the world. Okay, so we're coming towards the end of the review process. A look at this book with some of the many stories that are in here. And of course it's called Curious and Bizarre Beginnings. There's so much of interest in this book, and I'm just wondering whether it all should be discounted. Old information, do you understand? Many people just throw these away and forget about it, and then I feel a lot of information may get lost this way. Now there's a couple of curious things here. This guy here, brilliant dunce. So how ironic that the word dunce, used to denote an idiot, derives its origins from a man of brilliance. I suggest you look into John Duns Scotus. Yeah, anyone who followed his works were called dunces. John Duns Scotus. Some ideas well ahead of his time. And how ironic to be called, to have people named after him as idiots. Very cool. Very cool. Alright, so thanks Dan, as always. I don't agree with everything you say. Some things you... from asteroids. You hit the nail on the head. And I might get on a good one, man. This fucking... Even in my homeschooling program for my children, what is the predominant subjects they use in the kindergarten through first grade curriculum? Whether it's reading, English, anything. Space and dinosaurs. Space and dinosaurs. Got a lot of time and effort on these. Not changed too much. At least no bars in the way this time. No, hey. Planets or fucking dinosaurs. Why? Because they complement. They're two fucking lies that complement and depend on each other. Because with dinosaurs, we get the asteroids that destroyed the dinosaurs. Neither of them fucking exist, which makes it awful fucking convenient for them, but not very convenient for anyone with a modicum of fucking common sense. Thank you, Dan. For me, it's not about discounting all the information in old books, right? If we just get rid of like that old book I've got, people will forget. And then some motherfucker in the future can come and do it again. Alright, where people are just abandoning and throwing away stuff, and we mustn't, alright? We must never forget that people can use these things against us. Do you understand? I know there are a lot of people who will criticise and say, what is this shit? What are you sharing? Well, I'm just sharing information. You make of it what you will, but understand that all information is used for other people's advantage, and you don't know how to use that information, and it's time you learned, okay? It's time we change it. It's time we learn to share the correct information and not hide the bad information, but discuss it and talk about it. Alright? What a weird coincidence. So my lovely little book, thank you very much to the Reader's Digest. Sorry, not the Reader's Digest company, the people who work there, who put effort into making these articles and writing these things. I cannot believe that so many people would do something so intentional as to mislead us. Some good people have been made to pass along bad information, yeah? We all know that saying. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. People have been trying to do good things for years. We mustn't forget that. Okay. Well, thank you very much if you watched it. I hope you enjoyed it. Just a few of my interests, the things that grabbed my attention from this book. Thank you to everyone who put effort into that, wherever they are. I doubt if they'll ever see this. It was made such a long time ago, I doubt many of them are still around, so thank you all of you. Reader's Digest, thank you, but go fuck yourself. Thank you all for watching. Much love, peace and luck. I will return to this section at some point and expand on it as much as I can, because of course the impossible dream, man's quest for free power, is something we're still arguing about, isn't it? And oh my God, there are so many names on this page. I'm not sure where to even start. Yeah, Villard de Honnecourt, Leonardo da Vinci. Yeah, there's a couple of chaps over here. Edward Somerset, the Marquess of Worcester. Yeah, Abbé de la Roque. I mean, that was in 1686. This has been spoken about for as long as, and this whole section, man's amazing inventions, is quite cool actually. But yeah, we'll return to this. Okay, so today at my son's school, dinosaur day. And just today my lady went and bought this film for the kids. Yep, World of Cranky Dink. Hope you enjoyed the film. Much love, peace and luck to you.
Trying to save the world from a magnetic asteroid. In this movie, you got tidal forces and collisions and electricity and magnetism. We're just too attractive! And I've been asked by the producers to investigate the science behind the movie.